Hi, welcome to my show. Today, my guest is Nabil Nona. Hi, Nabil.
Hi.
Nabil is actually, he's a colleague that I met years ago because of a film that I was working on. And then over the years, we stayed connected because you're interested in films and you and I have been working in our own ways. And seeing his passion in the film industry, which got him awards for his short film, and you're going to be telling us about that. When I recently founded Unique Voices in Films, I contacted Nabil and I wanted him to be on the board, and I was so honored that you accepted. Thank you.
And I'm honored to be a member.
Thank you. And because I knew that you're a hard worker and you're very passionate about the film industry and you're very talented, the work that you do and things like that. So today I wanted to share and show some of your work and also talk about a little bit about what we're doing at Unique Voices in Films. But why don't you first tell me how you got involved in the film industry?
Well, it goes back to my childhood. When I was a little kid, I was fascinated by the American movies. I come from Iraq. I was born in Iraq. And my joy was to watch, American movies or Western movies because I was killing two birds in one stone. I was learning about the filmmaking and the acting. I was also learning how to speak the language, the English language, by watching and watch the actors and then hear them talking in English and then read the subtitles in Arabic. So I was learning English as we were
So that
watching.
was your
That was
schooling.
my schooling before I started the official school and learning about the English language. But I'm fascinated by the storytelling. I love people who know how to tell a story, and the film industry, especially the American film industry, is one of the best in the world,
That's
and
right.
it's fascinating. So I wanted to be part of it. In 2009, here in Michigan, I decided to study acting and filmmaking, and I was involved in a couple of projects as I was learning about filmmaking. And at the beginning, I was an actor, but then I decided I want to be behind the camera because I was here in Michigan. We have this problem, especially for a lot of independent filmmakers
Mhm.
and a lot of local talent, that they are involved in projects, but those projects are never completed because of the budget issue, because of the actual project. There's always obstacles, and I thought it was not fair for the actors or anyone involved. So I decided to do short films where we can write, produce, and direct,
So you
and
felt
so we
like
can at
by
least get them done.
So you felt by you becoming a filmmaker, then you have control over the
Yeah,
film and that you can make sure that it gets executed rather than
right.
feeling like, okay.
The main reason was I really wanted them to be done, completed, finished. A lot of people start here, and especially 10 years ago, was a lot harder than now because of the technology, because of the available tools. We didn't have like the great cameras and great lenses that we have these days. Now you can do a great film in your iPhone.
Yes.
10 years ago, it wasn't that easy. I mean, we were relying on DSLRs, and we were relying on other ways to complete the project, and it was kind of expensive, especially when you have a feature film, when you have an hour and a half that you want to execute. And half of these projects, if not 80% of them, were not completed. So people end up working so hard, but they don't see any of their work. And I thought that was unfair. So I decided to do short films, and then that way they can be completed and then submitted to film festivals. And then, of course, anyone who was involved in them, from the actors to the crew to the producers to the cameramen and to the lighting department, all can see and show their work, so they can have opportunity to uh, have a better uh, project where they can show their work, so they can have a better chance in doing something bigger and better, and of course with profit.
Oh, this is an excellent way to approach something. A
Yeah,
lot of people in the arts, whether it's the writers or filmmakers, in anything, that's what sometimes the dedication and finding a way to make it happen. Some people fall short of that,
right.
and that becomes disheartening. So they might even leave that their whole passion or something they dream about because they don't find a different way.
Yes,
But in your case, so this is a good example of like if you're passionate about something and you want it to get done,
right,
you just find a way around it. And
right.
you might have, if you had an initial idea of making a feature film,
Yes.
but you say, well, you know what, let me start with a short film and then go around that.
Exactly. You gotta think small first. If
Mm-hmm.
you are an upcoming filmmaker and you are learning about this, don't start with a project that is going to be probably
Overwhelming, yeah.
overwhelming for you and the people that work with you, especially when there's no budget. It's all about the budget. I mean, even if you have the budget for a feature film, don't risk it yet. Try to do completed short films, but do a good job with it. You know, choose the best cast, choose good crew where they can give you a quality work instead of doing a feature film and you just want to wrap it up as soon as possible because you have no money, not enough money to finish it. So you end up doing, not the best quality.
Right.
To me, quality is the most important. It doesn't matter. It's a story. You're telling a story, whether it's a short film or a feature film.
It's a story.
It's all about the story. So if your 10-minute story is effective and you know how to tell it, you know how to show it to the audience, that to me is more important than a feature film. That half of the time people don't even know what they're following. They don't even know what they're watching. So you don't want to fall under that category where
Yeah.
this one needs a lot of work before we call him a filmmaker or before we watch his work.
And then is this how, so I know that, when you were doing Consequences, um, when you were shooting that, I covered that story
Yes,
for
you
the
did.
Chaldean News, and
Yes.
I saw you at work, so I
Yeah.
see what you're saying, and it is a lot of work for a short story. Some people
Right.
don't have any idea of what sometimes goes into that. They think, oh, so it's a short film, and
Right.
so it's not as. But you had a full crew,
I did.
and then you got the Sterling Heights Police involved, because of
Yes.
your relations. I learned so much, by the way, just from covering that story, because I saw how all the details that you covered
Right.
to make sure that this happened right. Everything you were just discussing right now regarding quality, and
Yes.
but what that means is also all the details involved. So you,
Yes.
because there was cops on this in the scene, and I
Right.
don't
I
know,
wanted
we're
to make
gonna
it as
be,
authentic as possible,
yes,
so we actually talked to the police station department in Sterling Heights, and because my other business, I do have a translation agency where we provide interpreters. I'm one of them personally. That's my day job, my boring job, and then the insurance, the insurance agency. These are my day. This is how I pay my bills. But
yes,
my passion is filmmaking.
yeah,
So when I was doing Consequences, the short film Consequences, it involved police officers, it involved a police car. So I wanted to make it authentic, and I was able to get a police car, and I was actually one of the actors in the film is a police officer, actual police officer who wanted to be involved in the film. He wanted to be an actor. It's his passion anyway. So I was lucky, but it was authentic. Everything was authentic, and that's the idea: is show your work, make it authentic, make it believable,
hmm,
make the audience get engaged. Doesn't matter how long the film is. So
and as a result,
yeah,
it won awards.
yes, it did.
Okay, so
Yes,
that's the point. It's like you put all this effort into it.
right,
You looked at you marked all the details off and
right.
everything like that.
Yes,
And at the end, it won an award. And
yes.
I think we have a little bit of a clip here. Let me see. Have the consequences. Let me show it right now. It's a very short clip here.
police. Drop the gun, kid!
I remember this scene very much because I know you had to retake it.
Yeah, we do a few takes for that. Yeah,
And it was pretty hot outside, and
it was.
yeah, but again, proves the care and the details.
Well, for the audience, if they want to know what the story,
Yeah.
in short, Consequence is about a father, a bad drug addict, alcoholic father who hates his autistic son, and he just don't want him in his life, but he wants to also benefit from his son's death by pushing him to a park where he puts a fake gun in his pocket and calls the police on him, hoping that the police would shoot him wrongfully and sue the city for the wrongful death of his son. So, as you can see in that clip, the story was intense, and we tackled a couple of issues. Autism is one of them. Abused children and their abusive fathers. I mean, even biological fathers could become that evil when they're under the influence of drugs and alcohol. So it was a very powerful message, and I encourage everyone to watch it. It's on YouTube, and it's a 9-minute short,
Yeah.
and hopefully they like it.
And when I post this on my blog post, I'll include the links
Very
and
good.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what would you give advice? I saw that the quality is very good, the cinematography, the editing.
Yes.
But somebody who's starting out and they do wanna, you know, do something of that quality work. And another good example that you have is you do work a full-time job,
Right.
and you have a family that you're supporting and things
Yes.
like that. What advice would you give them that would help them maybe get from A to maybe D or something like that without feeling that kind of frustration that a lot of filmmakers feel?
True.
Because one of the things right now, although it is easier to make films because of what we have access to,
Yes.
but at the same time, it seems like people are just kind of all kind of running and doing that.
Right.
But what advice would you give?
I think
newer
choosing the story.
filmmakers?
I mean, if you're not a writer yourself, then try to connect with good writers.
And how did you do that? I mean, yeah,
Well,
like that's another thing. Give an example, really.
so I was I'm always looking for a good story. I don't write on myself. I write sometimes just to test my ability to write, and I'm decent, but I always look for perfection, and so I look for someone who's better than me at least. And there are talented people all over the world. Now with the internet, you can connect with
You
anyone.
can connect.
So
There's a
try
lot
to
of forums. There's a lot of
Yes.
forums for filmmakers that they can connect to
yes.
and meet the people that, as you said. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be in the same state.
Yeah.
Especially with regards
That's
to
true.
script writing.
Right. The writer of this particular film, he's actually from Indiana.
Yeah.
But I found him online, and we connected, and I saw his other stories, and I was fascinated by the short stories that he wrote, and I chose this one because it's the most compelling for me and cinematic, and it could be done. But choose your story very carefully, especially for a beginner. quality comes next. The
Like the
editing and
crew,
everything else.
yeah. So those
You
are.
just
Were you involved in communities prior to that you already had access? Did you have access to some of the people that you later worked with, or did you have to like kind of search for them, just as
I
you would hire anybody else?
right. Well, from 2009, I have connected with many talented people, from actors to filmmakers, to other filmmakers, to other cinematographers. So you create a list of people that you can actually talk to when you have a project that you're thinking about. So if they're interested in your project, then they will help, especially if it's a low budget thing.
Yeah,
Most
'cause
short
it's
films are
doable. Yeah,
low budget because we don't want you to break the bank to make a short film. We want you to shine and show your work, but again, you need the help of everyone else because they're gonna shine and show their work.
and see, this is why. So us even collaborating with regards to unique voices in films, that was the whole idea,
Yes.
is that you really can't work on your own. That's one thing. I mean, I was writing books a long time before
Right.
this organization started, and the whole that is so much easier. You just need an editor, basically.
That's true.
And you have an editor, and you're really working on your
Right.
own. That's not the case with film.
Right.
With film, you really need a team. You need a
Yeah.
team of talented, and you really have to be supportive of one another and not feel
Right.
like, because when you're supportive, and it becomes about the project. It's not so much about you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't
And-
recommend, even if you have the talent to write, direct,
Yeah.
act, produce, do all of it on your own.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. You're gonna be burnt out
You're gonna
before
be
you
burnt
even
out, yes.
finish.
Well,
So
and the creativity that comes from collaborating with other people.
Yeah.
And I just want to say also, so we just really recently, I mean, the organization started, we got the 501c3
yes, we did.
later last year. So we hadn't had the chance to do too many events, although, between this show and there is an event coming up, it's a spiritual and writing retreat.
Right.
But we are going to be doing more activities where we will be hosting different events where people, kind of what you're saying, how you met these people, we're trying to build that forum so that people can get together.
Yeah.
And we will be introduced to them, and they will be introduced to us, and we can
benefit from each other.
It will
Yeah.
be like right.
Yeah.
I just want to show the logos really quickly so that people, if you go to uniquevoicesandfilms.org, and then you will find the information about Nabil on there, as well as with our other board members. And I want to also share. You have a reel that you sent me here.
Yeah.
If you can tell me a little bit about that.
Well,
before
this
I
the reel
play
that I sent you is a 2-minute
Yeah.
reel. It shows all the work that I've done since I started officially in 2010 or 2011, from music videos to short films to commercials to ads and everything else, all done.
It's really cool.
By
I
me.
saw that,
Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, and I did
haven't actually seen you and you're acting as much, and I saw you here, and I'm like, oh, he's a
Right.
good actor.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'd rather be behind the camera, but I thank you.
But we can use you in front of the camera too.
Sure.
That's what that proves. It's like, oh, we
I've
can
been
use
approached-
him in different.
You have no idea how many times I've been approached by other filmmakers and other production companies where they want me in front of the
You
camera
did a
as the
good
actor.
job. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But half of the time I refuse because I really want to be
You're
behind the
getting more
camera.
comfortable behind the camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna play this right here. I think
All
it's
right.
really cool. Oops.
Why are you here?
Why are you here, Father?
It was just a bad dream.
Father.
It's what I'm gonna do.
I had the worst nightmare.
Are you okay?
So really, that's quite a bit of work and not that long of a time.
Yeah.
Again, given you do have a full-time
Right.
job, you have a family, a young family too.
Yeah. Well, I've been very lucky here. I'm really lucky in finding the cast and the crew. I mean, I couldn't do it without their help.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny because they say like if you prepare, then you'll find the luck. I mean, I think that luck finds you because you put your intent out there. Because I
Yes.
felt the same way. You know, we were recently at a family reunion just Sunday, and there was somebody there that I saw that I was thanking him because he went to my film school, and when I needed to complete my editing for my feature film, I was so trapped thinking I have a small budget and I need to finish this and I can't find the right person. I ran into him at Micro Center where he was working, Brian Mansour,
Yeah.
and I said, you know,
I know, Brian.
can you help me with this? And he goes, I can't, but why don't you call MPI? That's where you graduated from, and
Right.
talk to the advisor. And I said, yeah, you know, I didn't think about that. Well,
Right.
anyway, it was that little thing. And, you know, you
course.
would think that was luck, but really it's probably my prayers. Like, I need to finish
Well,
this.
you're a hard
and
worker.
But same thing. I think that's what attracts.
Yes,
so
that's true.
it's a lesson for people that when you set your intent, and it just seems like people come and you meet the right people once you put yourself a little bit out there.
Yes.
Don't you think? I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree.
It seems like you had really great
I,
and
yeah, I was
film
very
and
lucky,
actors.
and I can't, thank them enough. Most of them, especially for the short projects, most of the actors did their work for free just so they can be exposed. And they were lucky because some of them are actually getting good jobs, acting jobs, and
because they get credit.
yeah,
You know, they're getting
yeah,
on
they
IMDb
see the quality
and
of their
yes.
work and they shine.
It's
and,
they recognize it's an opportunity
Right,
for them,
right.
and it's an opportunity for
right.
you. It's
And
a
of course,
win-win.
luckily, thank God that I'm working on a couple of projects, a couple of feature films, and
I want to discuss that because we don't have too much time, but I do know that there's a big project that you're working on.
right, a TV series, potential TV series. We already
can you
have.
share that? And I have a
Sure.
little bit of clip over here.
Sure, it's a story about a summoner who's able to summon the dead, and the idea is, this person will not summon them for free, but he will not summon them for money. So he will summon someone as long as that there's something that person who's asking to summon that they can give that is dear to them, that is valuable for them. So and it's a story about the summoners always trying to solve the mystery that those people come to him. So if it could be a crime, someone who died because of crime, but they don't know how to solve the crime, so they come for the summoner. If it could be someone who lost their grandfather or grandma, and then they have a secret or they have some kind of treasure or something, and they need to summon them to see if there's actual treasure. So it's a different stories. It's 10 episodes. We wrote 10 completed episodes. We did a 7-minute sizzle.
And that 7-minute, we don't have the time to show it
Yeah.
here. However, like I said, when I include the blog post,
Right.
I will do the thing for that. But I do have time to do the
Sure.
couple of minutes that you have
Yeah.
here. So I'm going to play.
This ain't no con, let's be real. Tell them. Yes, tell them how it works.
They were not going to believe.
That doesn't matter. You have to explain the rules.
I'll summon any dead person you want. but one and only one,
Why only one?
because that's all you can afford.
Now it comes. How much you charge, fool?
That which you hold most dear.
What? What most dear?
So, he want it all, is that it?
No, only the thing you value most. What would you grab if the house were on fire? It don't have to be money.
See, this is crazy. If it's not about money, then what is it?
Listen, you can ask any question you'd like, but I can't control if the spirit speaks or not.
Cause you can't summon jack shit, right?
Please, I have seen him work.
I don't care what you've seen, sister. He's bogus.
That's good acting. How can people get a hold of you if they want to collaborate on some of these projects?
They can,
Like, what's your
email me or email the agency at nonaagency@gmail.com. Or they can find me on Facebook, Nabil Nona at USA.com. Or they can, connect with you, and then, of course,
Sure.
you can connect with me.
And like I said, I'm also going to be putting your information, your contact information and
Yeah.
stuff like that when I post on my blog. I want to say that we have prepared an event where the Vice President of Unique Voices in Films is going to be doing a presentation, a workshop about storytelling. And he was endorsed by Will Smith and worked with on several projects with Will Smith. But this is one of our ways to connect with the community. I have a little clip with that, and then we'll continue. And I want to say the reason I feel something like this is very important because what you do and what I do comes from the heart. We are
Very
very
true.
faith-based people, and sometimes people ask me, like, how do you do all of this? And it's like, with the grace of God, that's how I do things. So I know we have similarities in that, and so sometimes people get too involved just in the writing or the working part, but there's a lot of heart and spirit into the work, and we have to understand our values and our priorities and care about that first. And I know, like I said, me and you and even the other board members are really, really believers of that. I want to thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thank you for
and
having
for
me.
being part of Unique Voices in Films. You've contributed a great deal.
Thank you.
I really look for, I think people will benefit so much by, once again, when we have events and more events and people get to meet you and we can work together. So we're out of time, but I will have you again
Thank
back
you
as
so
a
much.
guest. Thank you very much, Nabil. Thank you.
You.